after missing the playoffs last year. The New York Knicks flew under everyone's radar this season. They were disrespected by ESPN and Sports Illustrated and given a record of 39-43. This season, they blew it out the water with a record of 47-35. In the offseason, they acquired Jalen Brunson, and now they have a core of Jalen Brunson, Emmanuel Quickly, Julius Randle, RJ, some good pieces with Evan Fournier, Mitchell Robinson in there. The problem is no one cares. When talking about this season, it's important to remember that the New York Knicks had a number 4 offense with a defensive rating ranking of 19, so that's a little bit middle of the pack, but they were still pretty good on defense, and at times can look almost dynamic on the defensive end, where you do have players like RJ Barrett that get to it. New York Knicks are now matched up against the Cleveland Cavaliers, who I made a video about recently. A lot of New York Knicks fans took offense to the fact that I said that Cleveland Cavaliers can win it all this year, and I still think that, but I do also want to pay some flowers to the New York Knicks, who feel like they've been disrespected year after year after year, and granted, part of it is the organization's fault. Part of it is because there was a huge playoff drought, and even the year that they made the playoffs 2 years ago, people did not think that they should be in the playoffs. They got beat 1-4, and before that, they missed the playoffs for a stretch of years. They've been a joke of the league, truthfully. Before the big shift that the organization made, the New York Knicks were a joke of the league, and they weren't the only joke. There were a couple other jokes down there, like the Pistons. There are a couple other jokes down there, again, like the Magic, who received turned that shit around. But the New York Knicks were one of the laughing stocks of the league because of their organizational problems and their inability to have a superstar and develop a culture of winning. But now, that culture of winning is here. Again, they do have a Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, Julius Randle type duo, and honestly, I think they're missing one good piece from being an actual threat in the playoffs, and it's truthfully a big man. I'm not on the Mitchell Robinson train. I've liked Mitchell Robinson in the past. I thought he'll develop into something a little bit more, but I've been extremely disappointed in the Mitchell Robinson, and I honestly think he's the thing holding him back. To be honest, he fouls too much, he doesn't score enough, and he doesn't have that drive to get consistent minutes in the lineup and perform well at it. This season, he's averaging 7.4 points and 9.4 rebounds, fouling almost 3 times a game, which is crazy. And I think if the Knicks do want to take that next level, they will have to upgrade that big man position to at least get a double-double threat. Probably, ideally, something more like a 16-12, which is one of the reasons why I think the Cavs would be a lot better than them, because the Cavs do have a big man that would fit more into that 16-12 role in Jared Allen. If the Knicks can actually get a nice dynamic big, I think the Knicks would be a lot better. If you look at the Knicks team, the Knicks do have an interesting guard core. They do have a Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, Quentin Grimes, Emmanuel Quickly, and Josh Hart rotation. In the playoffs, it'll be smaller than that, but in the playoffs, you really hope that Jalen Brunson will continue to be the playoff monster that he was last year for the Mavericks. And if Jalen Brunson is able to perform how he did with the Dallas Mavericks last year, then this Knicks team can have a chance to upset some people. They could have a chance to upset the Cavaliers. I don't think the Cavs would have a defensive answer for Jalen Brunson, to be fair. On the other hand of things, what makes it kind of iffy is the fact that Julius Randle is arguably your best player. And I think he's probably the easiest player to stop in a playoff series, right? I think most teams do have a Julius Randle stopper. And by that, you have someone that can clog the paint and stop him from getting to where he wants, because he is a streaky shooter, but he can easily be iced shooting wise. Again, Julius Randle at the same time, while he can be iced shooting wise, he's going to keep taking the shots. So even if he's missing, it doesn't matter. He's going to keep taking the shots. I think Julius Randle, I think you can only get so far while having him as one, like a top 2 player on your team right now, because he is so inconsistent. I think when things are going well for him, it's freaking great. But when you do have him, I think you're forced to either get another person that can step up and take the load off of him, that he is comfortable letting take the load off of him outside of just a Jalen Brunson, right? And you would hope it would be RJ Barrett, but I think it's still just a tiny bit too early to take some of the pressure off Julius Randle yet. But more on that, the New York Knicks, again, their offense is dynamic because you do have a Jalen Brunson. So the new addition, Jalen Brunson, has been amazing for this team. Jalen Brunson is averaging 24-6 this year, almost a steal a game. And he has been dynamic because he is a ball handler that can get sparking, but is also comfortable letting other people work, right? Has playoff pedigree. Luka Doncic has even said himself that he misses Jalen Brunson, because Jalen Brunson can do what not a lot of guys can, and be that number 2 that can step up to a number 1 while being efficient, scoring, and playmaking. He's decently affordable for what he can get, and he could honestly get paid more for as good as he's been this season. You do have also RJ Barrett on his team, who is a young dog. I think he has a lot of defensive potential. I think his defense can be inconsistent, and his scoring can also be inconsistent. I think there's clearly flashes that RJ Barrett does reach that next level. He almost reminds me of an inefficient guard version of Kawhi Leonard, if that makes sense. I think he has the potential, maybe not the defensive potential of a Kawhi Leonard. He just reminds me of like a player that can get into you defensively, but also can become a scoring and playmaking nightmare when he gets going. And I do hope he keeps evolving as a player and reach that next level. And I could be completely wrong. Okay, I'm not against that. But I will say I think he has like that two-way scoring, playmaking mix potential. And I hope that he reaches that. When you do look at a big three of RJ Barrett, Jalen Brunson, Julius Randle, it's not something that sparks off the page, but you do have basically three players that average 20 points because RJ is averaging, what, 19.6? That's 20 points. Outside of RJ, you do have two players that average 25 and 24. And one of them is a rebounder and the other one's a playmaker. And even a rebounder is Julius Randle, and he can play make. He averages 4 assists. He can still play make. So no matter how you look at it, the Knicks do have some dogs out here. We didn't even mention Emmanuel Quickly, who has been crazy this season. Just having random games where he just pops off. He looks unstoppable at times. He plays with his love and passion for the game. He'll be smiling while cooking your favorite team. I'll be going into a game betting on a team like the Cavs, betting on the over-unders of players, and I'll completely forget about Emmanuel Quickly, who out of nowhere would just go for like 25 points. He's only averaging 15, but I've seen Emmanuel Quickly look like an insane offensive juggernaut at times. And it's nice to see those flashes from a young player that's only 23 years old. And then in the playoffs, it's a perfect place for him to reach that next level. And honestly, if I'm them, I'm banking on him to take that step in this playoff. And then this season, they also made a great addition in getting Josh Hart. Josh Hart, I think, was kind of being wasted when he was with the Portland Trailblazers. Now that Josh Hart is on the Knicks, he has been doing good for them, averaging almost a double-double. Averaging 10 points and 8 boards this season at 6'4" is crazy. He just kind of gives that Mr. What You Want factor. If you need boards, he's gonna get you some boards. If you need threes, he'll hit some threes. It makes you wonder how far can this team go? And I understand why some Knicks fans were even upset in my Cavs video. Go check that out if you haven't now. Because I almost dismissed them because I think the Cavs should beat them. Mainly because I would be disappointed if you lose to the Knicks because you don't acquire a Donovan Mitchell type player just to lose to the Knicks. But no disrespect. It's not that the Knicks aren't a good team. It's not that they don't even look dangerous the more I look at the roster. It is simply that you acquired Donovan Mitchell, an elite playoff performer. So if you lose in the first round to the Knicks, I'm disappointed as an organization. If you lose to the first round to the Raptors, I'm disappointed as an organization. Basically, any team that is not Boston or the Bucks, I'm disappointed. Even if I lose to Philly in the first round if I'm the Cavs, I'm disappointed. Because you do acquire a Donovan Mitchell type player that can rival a lot of teams' best player, if not be the best player in the series. So that is the only reason I said that. And the only downfall to the Knicks is your best player is probably Jalen Brunson. Or if you say it's Julius Randle, your best player is Julius Randle. I think that's worse. So yeah, that's what I think about the Knicks. I think they clearly have a roster that if they beat the Cavs is like, as a Knicks fan, is like you should have, as a Knicks fan, you're saying you should have never doubted us. However, if you lose in the first round is also like, we're really one offseason away from being that team because I think they are. Simply to me, upgrade Mitchell Robinson. I do notice that some players don't play as much as I think they should. I'm kind of disappointed Obi Toppin hasn't played more and turned into a deeper player in the rotation and get more opportunity. However, it's Obi Toppin, so I understand he's only averaging 7 points. I just thought he could be a little bit better than that. I thought Cam Reddish might turn out to be a better pickup than he has been. I mean, you know, it is what it is. I do actually like Cam Reddish. I think he could put the pieces together. But I think the Knicks are kind of just like one more dynamic piece away. Or if you could find a way to upgrade one of your better players, ideally Julius Randle, into a player in a caliber above him, then you can make some noise. They have some nightmares on this team, so I don't want to come off with disrespect. The Knicks do play the Cavs, though, in this playoffs in the first round, so let's see how it goes. Comment down below what you think the series is going to be. Same with the Cavs fans. If you're watching this, what do you think the series is going to end at? You think the Cavs are going to win? Do you think the Knicks are going to win? Do you think it's going to be a 7-game series? Let me know. Because right now, I got Cavs in 6, but this Knicks roster does look really nice. Truthfully, they got some players that you wouldn't expect to fit along in the way that they have. All right, that's all I got for today. Thank you for watching. See y'all in the playoffs.